Hey, welcome to this video. Let's get started. Hey, welcome back to my channel, and in this video, I'm gonna share 3 things that we have to remember anytime we feel abandoned or forgotten by God. But hey, if this is your first time here, my name is Tim, and I'm a pastor here in New Jersey, and the whole vision behind my channel is to help grow your faith one video at a time. And so if that's something that appeals to you, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel so that you can get more videos. And with that said, let's get into it. So we're continuing on through our Lent video series to the 7 last sayings of Jesus. You know, right before Jesus died on the cross, he uttered 7 last statements from the cross. And so we've been talking about each single statement every single week, and we're gonna do this up until Easter Sunday. And so we've been doing this through the season of Lent to kind of prepare our hearts and our minds for the death and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so if you want to be caught up, I'll link weeks 3 somewhere up here so that you can be caught up throughout this Lent video series. So the 4th saying of Jesus from the cross comes from Mark chapter 15, verse 34, and it says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Have you ever felt forsaken by God or by the people around you? Maybe you chose a career path that went against your parents' wishes, and because you made that decision, you feel neglected and abandoned by your parents because of a lack of support from them. Or maybe you've been praying for a family member or a loved one or for a friend for healing to come in their lives, and you've been praying persistently day and night for God to hear and to listen to your prayers, but you've been praying all these years and nothing has changed. And in those moments, you can feel abandoned and neglected by God. So the question is, how can you still have faith in moments when you feel neglected and forgotten by God? And so I just want to offer some takeaways from this passage that I hope that will encourage you throughout this time. The first takeaway is that it's okay to cry out to God and even question Him. You know, what a lot of people don't know is that this is actually a direct quotation from the Old Testament, and it comes from Psalm chapter 22, and this is King David praying a psalm of lament. And lament psalms are characterized by desperate cries, passionate prayers, complaints, and even questions to God. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, when I was growing up, I was always taught that it's not okay to question God and to bring your complaints to Him because it's a sign of weak faith and that you don't trust Him at all. However, I think asking questions is an integral part of our faith. God gave us the ability to reason. He gave us the ability to question. And so when we ask God questions, it's actually a form of worship. And so it's okay to ask God why. It's okay to ask God how long. It's okay to ask God, how is this happening? Because I think that when we ask questions to God, it actually brings us closer to the presence of God. You see, Jesus also struggled to make sense of what was going on, and so he desperately cried out to God. And so Jesus showed his vulnerability when he cried out desperately for the presence of God. And so may you be encouraged, and may you know that it's okay to cry out to God when you are hurt, when you are confused, and when you feel abandoned and forgotten by God and by other people. The second takeaway is that God's silence is not His absence. You know, there are going to be times when we want an answer from God. Why didn't I get into this school? Why didn't I get that job? Why did my loved one have to die? Why didn't my marriage work out? You know, Jesus also asked God, why? Why have you forsaken me? And even though Jesus asked God his question, he didn't get a reply back. Sometimes we won't get the answers to our questions from God, but just because God is silent doesn't mean that God is not listening. God has great hearing abilities. And so may you be encouraged today by this truth that sometimes God's silence to our questions does not mean His absence in our lives. The third takeaway is that Jesus relates to our pain. I want to read one verse, and it comes from Hebrews 4:15, and it says this: "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet was without sin." The good news of the Christian faith is that Jesus came to be with you and with me. He's not only with us, but He understands our pain and our suffering. Jesus Christ is the only person in all of human history who can truly understand our hurts, our hardships, our struggle, our pain, our betrayal, our rejections, because he himself endured all of that on the cross 2,000 years ago for you and for me. And so may you be reminded that you are not alone whenever you go through seasons of abandonment, because Jesus himself went through that for you and for me on the cross 2,000 years ago. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please join again next week as we continue on through our Lent video series. Thanks, take care, and God bless. So the fourth saying of Jesus from the cross comes from